My notes this time. Okay, so we're technically live. Ace! Ace is in the chat! Who would have thought?
Hello.
What's up? How you doing? It's funny, Glynis and I were just chatting and saying, like, today is the day, like, joking that it's going to take off, and then someone is actually there in the chat as soon as we go live. That's pretty funny. Glynis,
What?
what have you been on such a huge hiatus after you?
Wait, what?
How's life? What's going on?
Life
Tell
life
me
is
what's been going
cold.
on.
I broke my glasses today. It's very cold out. I blame. I looked it up so I could tell you. It's negative 12 Celsius today.
Holy
Um,
fucking shit.
and so
Just
like
for
that was the
reference,
high.
where I live, it does not get any colder than like 3 or 4 degrees Celsius. And I feel like I'm dying when that's happening. So how do you survive when that is going on?
I actually was still just wearing a sweatshirt.
Fucking God. So I'm glad you're alive. And waited
But
for
yeah,
me
so
this
I
whole
blame
time.
like I think the plastic became brittle. I blame the cold. But I
But you've
look
done a
like a
really good.
nerd, so that works. Yeah.
I love it. You've done it. So how did you fix them? Can we put that on the air?
It's like a careful application of super glue and like the like medical tape.
It looks good. I like it. I think you should keep it like that.
It's
Ace,
not, I mean, it's gonna stay this way.
Ace, tell us how you've been. I feel like the internet's been a mean old bitch to you lately, so I hope you're doing good. I also just want to give a quick shout out before we start to Michael, because Michael's stepped up and taken on this role that we're calling interview coordinator because we're trying to sound professional and like an actual business. But he does it anyway, and so I was like, might as well give him the actual title, and he's just like fully jumped into it, and I think we've maybe got like 5 or 6 from him now for the next couple of weeks, so that's pretty toit. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you, mate. Hope
He
you're doing
has
good.
he has a really, he has like a +5 to persuade, I think.
100%. It's the
Got that high
charm, I'm
charisma
telling
and
you.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the British charm. Like I swear, he's like what's the guy's name from Torchwood? Jack. He could
Jack Harkness?
sleep with it.
Yeah.
That's it. He could sleep with anything. Like he's just one of those guys that could walk up to any alien species or whatever. Men on the internet are always so nice, says Ace. Yeah, I know, right? I know. Why did computer why man? So to explain why we had such a huge hiatus. Also, welcome to session 3 of June Book Club. Apologies, that was all me. I was going to start with a quick recap, but I actually think it would be better if we just like jump straight into the story. But I just want to apologize and say I had bad internets, I had bad mental health. I also didn't like I made a plan and then didn't stick to the plan in terms of reading. Like Ace last week, I was like, "You've actually only read half of what we said we would read," and I was like, "Oh, that's bad." And so now I'm all caught up, and we're gonna jump right into it. I think if you want to know where we're up to, you can just watch the last 2 episodes. But it was that famous dinner party scene, basically, where we got up to. Would you add anything to that, Glynis?
It was some like definite high quality verbal sparring.
Yep. Yep. It was definitely a lot of bants. Ace also asks, Glenn, what are your pronouns? I've never asked. Mine are her, they / them.
Oh, I would like they them, but I'm not gonna like be mad at anything else.
Thanks for answering.
Honestly,
Thanks for
there's none
asking.
that if like it would be fine. I
don't I love it. That's a good question to ask. I like it. Okay, so Idaho is drunk, seemingly kicking on from that dinner.
Drunken Idaho.
Right? He wakes up Jessica because he's ranting, like he's in full on drunken rant mode. And she sees that Paul is still asleep. The Duke and the Doctor are nowhere to be seen. Mapes is there throwing shade. Classic Mapes. Turns out Idaho had been sent off with one of those sus escort gals from that dinner to get more information. Comes back absolutely plastered. Dr. US shows up and is trying to force feed him some caffeine. And when he refuses, Jessica tries the old shock treatment. She slaps him. She forces the he says Idaho was drunk, but I'm the hoe.
Nah.
That's funny. You're funny. Yeah, is it Duncan his first name, I think?
Duncan, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So she slaps him and she's like, get your fucking shit together. What is this shit? And this is when he's like, I'm not going to listen to some Harkonnen spy. And she's like, oh, I get it. I get everything now. And like it all clicks into place for her. She's like, oh, right. So I'm the suspect of this shit. Great. That explains why he was treating me. Sorry, the Duke was treating me like that. And everyone's been all sus and shit. The quote is really cool. It says, the broken stems of meaning she had seen in words and actions around her these past few days could now be translated, which I really liked. So she's pissed. She's mad. I would be mad too. She knows, let's not forget, like, she's also pregnant right now, like super early pregnant, but she's still like hormonal and, you know, everything's heightened and stuff.
Well, no one's really telling her anything.
Yeah.
Like, she's smart, but she's having to figure this all out on her own.
That's right. Like, no one's trusting her or even giving her the benefit of the doubt and asking or, like, yeah, any of that stuff. I've got that, like, phantom hair on my face, so if you know the ones you can never find but you can feel?
Because they're always coming from the opposite direction that you're feeling it.
Right? Anyway, so if I'm doing a lot of touching my face, it's not the meth, it's, well... So, she knows that Thafir or Hawat is her accuser, so she orders his presence right away, but he's in the city. Leto's at the command post still, and she does that whole, I'm going to get the Duke involved if my orders aren't followed, and which starts to make people move around a bit. And she actually starts to suspect Hawat as the traitor because of this. So the Harkonnen plot is just going fucking beautifully at this point. It's working wonders.
Well, you've taken like the two most strategic people and you're playing them against each other.
Absolutely. And like their entire job, when you think about it, both of them are there to protect the Duke. So they're both going to be highly suspicious of the other. And it's not like they have a personable relationship. So yeah, you can see why it goes how it goes. Ace says, I read Dune because of this, and it was too much, so I put on the audiobook and half-assed paid attention while drawing cute boomer babes. That sounds magical. Where are you drawing? That sounds really fun. Have you listened to the audiobook, Glynis?
So the first time I read it, I listened to the audiobook. And then the second time I read it, but then for this, like to refresh my memory, we've been listening to it like when we go to bed. I know. And it's like, it's so nice. It's such a good bedtime show. But weirdly, I didn't remember this from the first time I listened to it. I don't know when, but like it's a full cast, except for the last like few chapters I was listening to, it's not. It's just the narrator doing all the and like with no explanation. It's not from one person's perspective. I have no idea why it switched. It was very
they like
jarring.
ran out of money. That's so bizarre. Yeah, that'd be like
if that happened to anyone else, I want to know.
Yeah, imagine if we were watching the fucking Mandalorian and then all of a sudden they cut out every cast member except like him in the last.
It's just Pedro Pascal doing every voice.
I would actually watch that. I'd be down.
Okay, I would do that, but I would want it to be Werner Herzog from like the first season. I would want him to do all the characters.
Yeah, hell yeah. Let's make it happen. We can definitely kickstart that shit, I reckon. We could make it a thing. Okay. Actors need money, man. So Thafir actually shows up pretty quick, right? Like he was in the city doing shit, but he rocks up. And Jessica goes full Bene Gesserit. Like she starts figuring out escape routes. She's got the special knife. And when Hawat shows up, he's got like some blood on him that she sees. And this interaction that they have with each other is tense. it's tense. She's all like, cut the crap, be the spy. And he's butthurt. Um, and through all this, her observation skills are like ticking around. She puts together that he's not the traitor, which is obviously super relieving for her. But then she wonders whether she should tell him that she's pregnant. She decides to keep it to herself. Again, they fucking dismiss the doctor again as a. It's so frustrating.
Well, like she was reassuring him too.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm like, but why? But why? So yeah, that's, you know, she's getting frustrated as well. She like begs the fear to use his mentat abilities to sense what the fuck is going on here. He's so emotional that he's just getting offended over and over. I love this quote about the uneasiness of the Duke's men. They're becoming like the men of the pre-guild legend, sick at their guns, forever seeking, forever prepared, and forever unready. Pretty dope. And it's really like premonition-y. What was that?
He uses words good.
It's funny because my summary is all like, this is when shit gets real, and his is like, forever prepared, forever. It's so like, the prose is outstanding. But anyway, both of them.
Something like reading a really good author to make you realize you talk like a caveman. It was great. He went there. I had fun.
Like if I ever wanted to propose to someone or make a wedding vow or any of that romantic shit, I'd probably just pull a quote directly out of Dune. Not gonna lie.
That's legit.
Yep. And it would
like,
be
why
let's make it one of the murdery ones too.
Right?
That's right. I'm never gonna write something as good as this. This is like the peak. So I just need to do more shrooms probably. But both of them have moments where they consider drawing weapons on one another. They're both like, you know, reaching into their jackets and shit. Who's going to shoot first? Jessica knows that she has to shock this dude somewhat. He's throwing barbs about the Duke not marrying her, which, asshole. They're both trying to, like, I guess, a response. Eventually, though, she uses her force power on him. And he is completely floored by that. We get a sense of how powerful Jessica and the Bene Gesserits actually are. She forces him to sit. She controls his own body. Pretty fucking rad. I liked that bit a lot. She uses this as a
very like Inuyasha.
Ooh, wait, who?
But it's an anime. Someone will get
cool.
it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Michael's here. Michael, do you get that? I'm too dumb. I'm a bad nerd. How are you, buddy? How's life? We are just getting into this interaction between Hawat and Jessica. So she uses this like force power thing as a teaching moment. She's like, see how easy I could kill you if I wanted to, how easily I could have betrayed the Duke. And then he's like, well, if you're that powerful, why didn't you just destroy the Duke's enemies? And she's like, because I'm not trying to make the Duke look like a bitch. I'm here to serve. Which I kind of get. I don't know. How do you feel about that whole thing? Should she have just gone full?
I think it makes sense. It's sort of that same thing of like, I hate to reference Rise of Skywalker, but like, let's pull some holdout maneuvers. Like, you can't use your most powerful weapon every single time.
That's right.
Or then everyone knows and it's not a powerful weapon.
That's right. And that's exactly what her internal monologue is too. She's like, I can't just throw it around. Like, the Bene Gesserits only survive because we use politics and secrecy. And Ace also says, I know of the thing you referenced, never watched it, but I'm aware that it exists. So you're right. Someone's getting it in the chat. So with that, I feel like the author is trying to make a direct real world comparison here, but I can't like narrow it down to one person or one organization or one country or whatever. Like, is he talking about America as a superpower with nukes? Like, everyone kind of knows they have them, but you don't really witness their power and survive. I'm not 100% on this one.
I would sort of, I guess, if I have to like think of a country that like kind of gets in everywhere and has that like loud voice when they need to, I would say it would be like the UK. because they're like
Ooh.
the little one, but like they've got all the colonies everywhere and like they've kind of spread their culture. And yeah, like, I don't know, this tiny island is the one that was like, hey, Hitler, sit the fuck down. So, like,
That I can see that. I can totally see that. I hadn't actually even considered the UK. So, Michael, there you go. You're featured. You're featured, bro.
he's a
So then
bunny
we get.
lover.
Oh man, can you imagine? Like, I can see Michael being the Quiz-Arts Haderach. I can totally see that happening. Yeah, but like
Yeah.
he'd have to be 100%. Well, we'll get to that. We'll see like Paul's transformation at the end of this chapter. Yeah, because Paul's pretty charming. Like he's been trained to be charming, but anyway, Leto finally gets home. This dude is exhausted. He's been up for 2 days straight, just powering through shit. His anti-fatigue pills are wearing off. He decides that he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna tell Jessica about this plan that I had because it feels weird. So he's like heading down a hallway to find her, and then he finds this like body on the ground, which is the smuggler, Tuek, and he's like dead and bleeding. So there's also this like weird mewling sound that he's hearing. So he's on like high alert, and he doesn't activate his shields because those like dull his senses somewhat. So Mapes is there, stabbed in the back. R.I.P. Mapes. I know, so sad. What the fuck? While he's what was that?
Just like, oh, cool. That was a nice character that we never got to know.
Yeah, like you know how I don't know if anyone's seen on Facebook. I posted like characters you like but don't get enough screen time. I would put Mapes in terms of book.
Dude, okay, I saw all of those posts and I felt like, have you seen the Billy on the Street clip when he's like, name a woman? And that girl just like freezes up and
Yeah,
she can't think of a single woman, like not
just
even her
one
mom. I mean,
woman.
that's how it
That's
felt.
right.
Was like, there are so many characters that I've said, like, oh, they just didn't get what they deserved, but I could not, like, just name a woman.
100%. Like when you're put on the spot like that, it's so hard, and I feel for this chick. So he attends to her. He gets shot with a dart. He looks up to meet the eyes of the doctor, who sabotaged the shields of their home. He's paralyzed. The doctor goes through his classic villain monologue. He's like, "This is why I'm doing this, and I didn't really want to, but if there's a chance that my Wana is still alive, I gotta do it." Blah 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 blah. And then he ends with like, "Remember the tooth," because
Which
he
is
puts it.
such bullshit, I feel like. Like, I'm pretty sure in other inner monologue with him, he talks about like knowing she's probably dead. So
That's
like
right.
I don't know. I feel like he's gonna justify it so hard.
Yeah, yeah. Like, if he was a normal human being and not a traitorous scum, he probably would have gone to Jessica and been like, "Hey, they took my wife. I don't know if she's alive or dead, but I'm pretty sure she's dead. Is there any way that we could find this out?" And then they could have done that together instead of
Right.
him going through this whole convoluted process. But that would be where's the plot, etc. So he tells Leto that he's replacing a tooth of his with this like dispersing poison gas thing. His real target is the Baron, basically. So he's going to like give him as a tied up ham to the Baron, and then he wants the Duke to like press down really hard on his tooth, make this poison gas disperse out, and kill the Baron when he gets close enough to him, which will also kill the Duke, but it's like a less painful death than being tortured to death, I guess. So remember their tooth. Another cool Princess Irulan quote. There should be a science of discontent. People need hard times and oppression to develop psychic muscles. What do you
I
think of
wrote
that?
that down too.
Shit. What's your takeaway from that?
Um, um, I think that that's absolutely true. Like there's an entire book about it. I think Malcolm Gladwell did one called like David and Goliath, I think was that one, about like people who face more difficult times usually tend to be more successful people. Because like you have to learn more and be like you have to be that much better than someone for whom like things come easily. Hi, Lily.
Oh, she's so sweet. Hi, baby. I agree with that. It's like that whole look, I don't know if this is entirely true, but they say like creative people are usually depressed or have some kind of mental illness. And like you'd think that that's derivative of they've tried to find a way to deal with that pain by making art. So
Right.
who knows who knows how true that is though. Like I'm not saying you have to like suffer to make good art, but sometimes I wonder if it contributes.
I think high intelligence generally goes hand in hand with mental illness.
Yeah.
And yeah, like usually good artists tend to be smart people. But
Yep.
yeah, like the smarter you are, I think the smarter you are, the like shittier you realize the world.
Ignorance is bliss, bitches. Just kill your brain cells and happiness will follow. Oh shit. It's so true though. So Jessica comes to tied up and gagged. After that, the Baron and Piter, they inadvertently reveal to her a few things. Like she's like, oh, okay, the Emperor's involved based on their interactions with each other. She figures out the Doctor must have been the traitor. Fucking finally, we get there.
Right.
Piter, right? We let's just like throw the book in the air and applaud and all that shit. Piter is weird because like he to this point he's like I really want Jessica, but then in the moment the Baron's like, hey, how about instead of that you become the like new Duke for a while, and Jessica's there like he knows that he's lying, right? Like he's a mentat, but then he's all like a fucked up mentat, so he says yes to that deal and he gives up on Jessica.
It's like he's just like overcome by his greed, I think, above anything else.
What do you think he initially wanted Jessica for?
That's the part that kind of weirds me out is like, how did you think that was gonna go? It's like when people like catfish, like where did you think this was gonna end up? Like, do you think that you're gonna marry her and like parade her and people will be like, you're not gonna become a duke because you marry her.
That's right. And like even if he wants her for Bene Gesserit power, she's not gonna give you that willingly. Exactly what you said.
Right. I really, for such a smart guy, I don't understand how you thought that was gonna end up.
She is so fucking precious. Oh my god. Can you give her a kiss from me? She's so cute. I love you. Yeah. Oh my god. So sweet. Okay, so what's funny about this scene too is like they all want to like get rid of Jessica and Paul, but none of them, they're all fucking terrified of the truthsayer chick from the beginning of the book. So they're all like, oh, we have to do it in a way where if she interrogates us, she can't tell that we were responsible. It's such a half-assed way to do it. Yeah, it's so bizarre. So they decide to dump them in the desert and just to keep themselves less culpable, I guess. Like, is that the theory there?
I get it. I mean, it was good enough for Jafar and Aladdin to just be like, whatever. People, because like, I mean, I get it. It's like a fiery hellscape. Like, you're probably leaving someone in the desert is 99% of the time going to be a death sentence, even when there aren't like giant sandworms.
Yeah. That's true. Like, yeah, if they have no still suits, which initially they didn't think they did. Also, he says, I keep thinking you're saying pie dough, and all I want is apple pie now when I'm saying pie dough. Oh, fuck, that's funny. So they're in the Thopter, and they're going to get, like, basically dropped off. And these two villainous fuckers, one of them's deaf because they pick him specifically because they know Jessica's got force power things, but they don't know that Paul has been training in that too. So he's not gagged, she's gagged. They're both tied up. They're in the back of this Thopter. Jessica knows that they're being followed by another Thopter, but she doesn't know by who. And they kind of work together to take down these guys because these guys are classic dumb thugs. Like they're just minions with no brains. And they get this secret package that's like hidden in the craft. And then this like Thopter that's approaching them like comes towards them, and Jessica's like, it's the Harkonnens, and they start running. And then smash cut, back to Yue and the Duke. We meet our first Sardaukar.
Very
Sardaukar?
spooky. Sardica?
Yep, Sardaukar. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, very spooky. Super spooky dude. I can't wait to see them in the movies.
In my head, they look like Carl Urban from that movie he was in with Vin Diesel. Perfect Dark.
What's
Chronicles of Riddick.
I don't know if I've seen that one. Oh yeah, Chronicles of Riddick I've seen. What was Carl Urban in that?
He had a mohawk, I remember.
Holy shit!
This
How
is
did
so
I not
many
put that
years
together?
ago.
Oh my god, I need
It's
to
because
rewatch
he's
that
a
shit.
freaking chameleon.
He is a chameleon. Oh my god, I need to I love those movies, and I love Carl Urban. I never put that
Dude,
together.
doing a Carl Urban like marathon is totally worth it because his body of work is like pretty varied, and he's really good at everything.
Yeah, fuck yeah, he's great. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Plus, I'll get to watch Lord of the Rings again. And Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. Hey, all, hope you're well. Hey, thanks for stopping by.
Hi.
How you going? How's life? Hey, so we're up to a really cool bit. The Harkonnens are coming into the Atreides home. The Doctor is like flooded with shame. He's starting to understand how history will remember him. And we learn that he's taken the ducal signet. And was that like a ring, I guess?
Yeah.
Yep. And plans to get it to Paul, so he manages to hide it on the Thopter with this small package that's set to take Jessica and her son. And then he gets a pretty badass death scene. And it's exactly like you said before. It's not like he's surprised to find out that Wana is dead. It's just he wanted confirmation either way and wanted to make sure he wasn't leaving her, which is really dumb. Anyway, right? So the Baron's like, hey, you held up your end of the bargain. Now I'm gonna, like classic villain, I'm gonna hold up mine. You're gonna reunite with her, just like I said. And then he gets stabbed in the back by Piter, and then he uses his last words to really like mind fuck the Harkonnens, which I really liked. He's like, I can't even remember what he says now.
Such a power move.
Such a power. Like, I hope if I die in a violent fashion, I at least remember to say something really badass before I die, like pretend to put a curse on them or something. But yeah, it really fucks. You can see like the Baron's like, oh shit, like he gets really perturbed by it, which I liked. What do you think of the scene?
There's so many, and this is, I think, in the top 5 scenes that I cannot wait to see in the show, and this is one of them. Like, I would be so happy if I got cast as Yui just to do this death scene.
Yes, that would be great. I would totally watch that. I can see you do that.
Right.
And I like the way they describe him like falling over too. They're like, he didn't crumple. It was like he was made of oak. Like he was strong even as he's fucking dying on the floor, which is pretty cool. Hold up, I'll just cough real quick. I'm back. All right. Thank you. This is when the Duke is brought in to the Baron, and we learn that, so he's getting some information, like the Atreides accomplice is the one that took the second Thopter. They don't know who exactly it is yet. And that Paul and Jessica have escaped. They don't know where they've gone. The Baron is asking for Kynes. They haven't found him yet. So they tell Leto they've captured one of his own. He doesn't know exactly who, but they were with the Fremen, and he can hear him being tortured for information behind him before he succumbs and dies. And Leto also has a really beautiful death scene, I felt. Yeah, I thought it was cool.
I really liked that whole scene from Leto's perspective, like of waking up, because like it feels so, I don't know, I'm not great at picturing stuff generally, but like even that one, like I could feel like hazy around the edges, and that I really like that scene from his perspective.
Me too. Yeah, I like all this like sharing of perspectives thing that he's doing across the narrative. It really adds a lot to the story, and you really get a sense of people's motivations and where exactly they're at emotionally. Also, Comics Will Break Your Heart, how you doing? Comics Will Break Your Heart has a Dune series and a Dune tattoo. So Jennifer, thank you so much. I'm hoping, Jennifer, if you're free, that you'll be a more regular guest on the show, on the live shows, because Jennifer is like one of those, kind of like Glynis, like the level of knowledge with comics and like nerd fandoms is so high and amazing, and they're so introspective, and yeah, it's pretty exciting. So go check out. She's smart. Go check out her channel if you haven't already. She's great. Nick, hi, good morning. How are you? How's life? How you doing? Thanks for joining us. So we are getting to a very crucial moment of the story. The Duke,
right?
Yeah, the Duke. For a while, he's like, do I crunch now? Do I bite down now? Like, he's thinking about it. He's getting up to getting tortured. They're talking about what they're going to do to him. He takes a moment to remember all these beautiful aspects of his life. Like, he remembers his home planet and Paul being born and all this cool. Yeah, I know, right? That's the face I was making when I was reading it. I'm like, it's cute. This is cute. So, really sweet. And he bites down, disperses the gas. He manages to kill Piter. He manages to kill himself. The Baron fucking escapes. What the fuck? Of course he does. Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah, I just thought it was great. I thought it was really well written and really beautiful and sad and awesome.
I cannot wait to see this. So much of this, like this
Me too.
End of book 1. I can't wait. But it bugs me that it's going to be a movie. I think this should be a show.
Yep. I agree. It needs to be like a fucking HBO series. Like,
right.
Huge budget, really detailed, lots of dialogue. Just do it. Just do it.
It's not like Game of Thrones. They have all the source material.
Yeah, that's right. Plus, like, it's funny how impactful that scene is when basically from the beginning we've been told that this dude's gonna die. Like, it's not like it was a surprise, but it's still so poignant.
Honestly, I don't think Leto, like, I don't think Yui could have come to Leto and been like, hey, so, what do you think about this? I get your wife and kid out, but you die, but I might give you a shit. Like, all the bullet points, I think Leto was cool with. Like, he knew he was gonna die. He knew the Harkonnen said thing coming, but like, there was no way you could tell him this ahead of time. I don't know. I really think, like, for as shitty as Yui is, he kind of did the best case scenario.
I'm with you. Yeah. Like, it feels predetermined. It feels like fate, especially the Duke. I didn't write this down, this quote, but he has this thought right before he dies, which brings him a lot of peace, which is something like about the flesh. Do you remember that bit?
I don't.
Yeah, I'd have to find the quote. But he has this thought of like the flesh makes it whole, or the whole, like it spawns from the flesh or whatever it is, and he is filled with this like sense of peace when he has this thought, and it's very like almost like a premonition or a exactly like you said, like it was supposed to happen, how it happened, which is nice. It's very comforting. So
I wish he'd gotten a little bit closer.
That's right. Yeah. Oh man, such a twist at the end of the story. We're getting close. So we're introduced to this new character. Tell me if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Iakin Neeford. He's the guard corporal.
I don't even remember this character.
Yeah, so the only reason I wrote him down is he just walks in and he's like the next in command just because everybody else has died, and the Baron's like, hey, you're next up. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah, I don't even remember that character.
Yeah,
that's so I'm gonna assume you pronounced it perfectly.
Yeah, that's right. And there's so many that just like Mapes, they show up, they make an impact, and then they quickly disappear. Like Piter, I felt like that as well. Like he was such a central character a few minutes ago, and now he's dead. Anyway, this dude, the only reason I wrote him down is he's addicted to this thing called scimitar, which is a drug music combination that plays itself in the deepest consciousness, which I thought was really fascinating because I'm a big fan of hallucinogenics. We've talked about how Herbert did a lot of shrooms while he was writing this book. And maybe it's how my brain is wired, but like sound is a huge aspect of tripping for me. So like auditory stuff is really, that's where I'll really hallucinate and all that stuff. And this is probably TMI, but this one time I was like in this kind of orgy setting and super high on a bunch of different things, and there was like music playing, but this thing happened where like I felt like a beat or a sound or a music like in the deepest consciousness, and it kind of resonated and hung around, and I'd remember it, not like hear it, but like
Yeah,
feel it.
that's the rhythm of the universe.
Yeah, like legit. I can see why people say they tune into that. So like maybe that's what this drug is supposed to simulate. Like I can definitely see myself getting addicted to something like Scimitar, a drug music combination. Like imagine how fucking sick that would be. That would be so cool.
There's so many fictional drugs I would love to be addicted to.
Right? Maybe that's what we should do is like start a lab where we try to create all the fictional drugs from Phantoms. I'd be down. Who
I
wants to
feel like
fund us?
as much as I hate him, we could probably get Elon Musk to finance that.
Oh shit, yeah, he'd be super into it. You just say the word submarine
Or
and
like
he'll be
Richard
there.
Branson,
Oh,
you know?
cool. Yeah. If you're listening, if you're watching, you can contact us at. Oh yeah, bloody Sardaukar shows up again, and he's like baller. He's like pushing his way through the guards, and he's like, "I need to see the Duke's body right away. You told the Emperor that you'd give this dude a painless death." And the Baron's like, "Fuck, I'm in trouble. Fuck, fuck, fuck," which is really satisfying to read. I think I
I
was reading that.
really, really enjoy seeing the Baron like
Shit his pants.
tense and like
Yeah.
because he's someone who is so in control of like everything going on. So yeah, seeing him finally be like, "Oh, my carefully laid plans maybe aren't going exactly how I thought."
And he gets fucked in this bit. Like, there are so many things that fall apart. He was thinking that Piter was going to be his new Duke. That dude's now dead. He was thinking he'd have time to clean up after the Duke's death. Now this dude from the Emperor is like, I need to see the scene right away. And he's like, shit. And then we also, in his inner monologue, he's like, I haven't told the Emperor this yet, and hopefully he never finds out, but that Atreides raid on Getty Prime and the destruction of all the Harkonnen spy stores. I was like, oh shit, this is so satisfying. You fucking creep, this is what you get.
Right.
Piece of shit. And that's how he ends the scene, right? Because he's like pissed off and he's like, I'm going to take this out on fucking another boy that looks like Paul.
Which is so creepy.
It's so gross. Why are you doing that? Stop fucking kids.
Right? And just like the way it's written, like it's just I need to go take another shower after reading that. Because yeah, he's just, and especially the way it's written or the voice they have for him. It's very to me it sounds like Dakota disagrees with me. I think it sounds like Thanos from like the movies.
Cool. Yeah.
And I can't remember who he thinks it sounds like. But yeah, like so just that like I want them and it's just like oh
yeah, and you can see that too, because you know how this is going to be such a weird connection. He's super fat, and you know how with diabetes, people have that like super low Thanos voice that comes with diabetes sometimes? It's like a weird side effect that people get. Yeah, so like he would totally have like I could see him with diabetes voice, and he has that. He's always described as like he's always touching everything. He's always like putting his hands over everything. Oh, he's just such a creep. He's so gross. Fat man.
He talks about these boys like he doesn't talk about them like they're people. He talks about them like they're like a meal.
Yep. That's exactly right. Possessions. And he even talks about like his own people like that. He's like he has a bit where he's like, I'm the predator and these are all rabbits and I'm devouring them, and it's revolting.
I think he is definitely like a personification of gluttony, I think.
Yep. For sure. This is when he goes off to fuck another kid. And this is when we go back to Paul and Jessica. We found out that the package is from the doctor, and he's put the ring in there, and he's put some like a Frem kit. So it's got like Frem suits, or still suits.
Like, everything you need.
It's like full on survival package. So thank you for doing something useful. Appreciate it. And a letter. He writes a letter in there too, where he's like, "Soz for being the worst."
Right.
Maybe I should write one of those. But Paul is real. Paul is really starting to switch on now. Like he is like, it's like he's evolving in front of our eyes. He
Or
can't.
like the juxtaposition of like Jessica kind of falls apart. Like this character that's been one of the people running this show just kind of is like, okay. And Paul just is unable to grieve, but like becomes this like robot almost of just like, now we're going to do this and now we're going to do this. And like, cause you're going to get to it because of his like sight thing.
That's right. Yeah, it's really fascinating. Hey, like she becomes the emotional one when her whole life she's been teaching him how to control his emotions. Yeah, there's this
Yeah.
massive power switch. And she like is terrified. She sees that his childhood is like ending in front of her eyes and like his look of how does she describe it? Like his terrible awareness. And I was like, oh
Yeah.
fuck, like you see that in pictures of children from drone strikes and stuff like that, where it's like they've witnessed something a child should never witness, and they can't ever unsee or like unlearn what they know. So that look,
Right.
sparked. Yeah, he goes full, I guess, mentat. Like he's starting to figure everything out. Everything's falling into place, and he's like understanding things that he shouldn't understand. Like he knows about the Missionaria Protectiva, which is something that he's
Yeah.
never been told about. Yeah, like he sees the
When he knows
future.
about her pregnancy.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm only like, the only reason she senses it is because of her training. It's not like she's like, she'd probably be 5 weeks or less is the indication. Yeah, like she's
I
very very
think
early.
for Jessica, like she was headstrong and was like he accuses her in this scene of like, you wanted the Kwisatz Haderach. You didn't care about anyone else. At least of all me.
Yeah, why did you do this to me? I'd be the same. Like, why did you do this?
Right.
You chose this for
And I
me.
think she just now is realizing like the ramifications of this choice.
Yep. And who would have thought, like, having a son who can see all of the past and all of the future, that's gonna fuck someone up for sure. You know, like she's starting to, yeah, she in real time, she's seeing him react to this power that she is responsible for giving him. But then her response to him is really interesting. He's like, what have you done to me or something like that? And she's like, I gave birth to you, which is like the right thing for her to say in that moment. It's really interesting interaction between them in that scene.
Well, I mean, no matter how their relationship changes, like this aspect will always remain.
Yeah. Yep. And he starts to pity her, you know, because she's like grieving, she's sobbing and stuff, and he gives her that message from Leto as well. He's like, he never distrusted you. He wanted me to tell you that. I know. He always love. It's funny. Your face is exactly my face when I'm reading the actual book. Like, okay, yeah, and he's like, telling her his vision that they're forever linked to Arrakis and they're now dependent on the spice. They can't ever be without it.
Like,
what do you think of that?
You need to get the audio someday. It's just like the venom in his voice of like, do you realize what you've done? Like, we're never leaving this planet because it's inside us now. And like, he compares it to something else of like, and yeah, she's like, oh shit, he's totally right.
Yeah. Like,
so like, and just like, so what do we do now? Do we go live with the Fremen then? And like, it's just, you're asking your what, like 16-year-old kid what we're supposed to do now?
That's right. Like, so much pressure on this fucking child that's just lost his father, by the way. Like, fuck. It's really intense. It's super intense. And it just ramps up from here, right? Because he's telling her they will find a home among the Fremen. Jessica will birth her daughter on the planet. She, man, this bit is so fucking mind blowing. Just strap in, kids. Here you go. Ainsley, good timing. How you going? What up? What up? What up? How you doing? So we're about to get to a bomb drop. Are you ready? Yeah. All right. So she asks, she's like, are we gonna, like exactly what you said, are we gonna live with the Fremen? And then she said, because she can see that he's seeing everything. He's like got all the premonitions going on. She's like, "Are we going to win against the Harkonnens?" And Paul's like, "You fucking dumb bitch. We are the Harkonnens. You're the Baron's daughter, bitch. Fucking."
And she's like, "Oh, surely we're a breakaway sect of them." And then that like look in the mirror.
Yeah. And like, it's funny, as soon as he says it, she's like, "Oh yeah," like,
Oh,
just, oh, yeah. And because, okay, we've been told over and over again, Bene Gesserit, they don't know who their like parents are. They just get like taken and trained and placed. And so we knew it was probably going to be a big deal who her, like, what her parentage was. And it's starting to finally fall together. Like, this is a Harkonnen with an Atreides, these houses that have constantly warred since forever. And it seems to be, how did Paul describe it? It's like he was fixing a genetic defect or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Super interesting.
He was supposed to be a girl, and he was supposed to marry Fade. Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, well, like this, I don't know, we'll fit these two families back together, I guess, in a sort of incestuous way.
Yep. And it's
not incest if you don't know it.
That's right. It's like Star Wars all over again. So he is just too early. He's just a little bit earlier than everyone anticipated. But he was exactly what Glynis said. He was the plan all along, just not in the way that they expected. And this bit is interesting, right? Because she's like, "Oh my god, you're the Kwisatz Haderach," and he's like, "Nah, I'm more than that. I'm something unexpected. I'm something unbelievable. I'm a seed." What the fuck does that mean, Glynis?
I don't know. Okay, is it before or after this that he has, I had to rewind it like 7 times, that moment where he's like two paths, one where he sees himself before the Baron saying hello, grandfather, and then like this would lead to something terrible.
Yep.
And then
I think that's how it ends that chapter.
Yeah, like
yeah. So what do you think of those? So the two paths. Sorry, I interrupted you. You saw him standing in front of the Baron, having a conversation with him, and he's like, "No, I don't want to do that one because of what gets me there." And then what's the alternative?
Right. It was what, like a long time periods of nothing, within like certain time periods of like, I think, lots of fighting. And then the beginning of like a new religion, a new whole movement, a way of life. Like, so like it sounded a lot to me like Jesus, with the like that you're gonna like toil for 33 years or whatever, that are 3 years.
You're suffering.
Ainsley, correct me.
Yeah. Ainsley, help. It's funny because Ainsley says, "I was excited to come into the child will save us trope." And that's exactly what's happening here. Like, he's like, how old is he here? Is he 16 or 15 or something, Paul?
He's definitely in his teens, maybe 17.
Yep. He's young, yeah. But he's just had a massive growing up point. Yeah, it's funny, this quote I pulled, he's like, he found that he could no longer hate the Bene Gesserit or the Emperor or even the Harkonnens. They were all caught up in the need of their race to renew its scattered inheritance, to cross and mingle and infuse their bloodlines in a great new pooling of genes. And the race knew only one sure way for this, the ancient way, the tried and certain way that rolled over everything in its path, jihad.
It seems like a lot to me of like, yeah, you're caught, like there's this wheel and you can either like jump in and take your place in that cycle, or do you want to just smash the whole damn thing?
Break the fucking wheel, Daenerys.
Yeah.
You bitch.
Right.
You said you would.
Yeah.
So this is what's interesting to me, right? I looked up the Arabic term jihad. Literally means a struggle or striving. So it appears in the Quran in different contexts. It can include various forms of non-violent struggles. For instance, the struggle to become a better person, which falls under the category of jihad of the self, which is an important subject in Islamic devotional works. But obviously, like, there's the other context, which is like an armed struggle against outsiders. So I think he's picked that word very
I was
deliberately.
actually just reading a really what? Oh, sorry.
Oh no.
I just read a really good, very long book about the Crusades, and the guy leading the Muslim side of it is talking about, yeah, like, this is a jihad. Like, I don't think you understand. I can't make these, like, we can't meet, and I can't, do what do you when you give and you take deals?
Yep. Yep.
Anyway, I can't compromise. With you.
Okay.
Because this is a holy thing now. Like, I need to take this city.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
That's
really
it.
That sounds awesome. That sounds like a good read.
It was a really good read. It was a really good quarantine read because I was very far away from here.
I love that. Yeah. And plus you want something that's like long and massive escapism, and yeah, you can just dive into it, which is why Dune is so good, everybody. But Paul ends with, they'll call me Muad'Dib, the one who points the way. And he then finally feels as though he can warn his father, and he finally starts to cry. And that's the end of this first, like, section. Fuck.
To see Timothy Chalamet have this breakdown.
It's so nice to see him have, like, because you get worried about him in this scene. You're like, is he just going to become this, like, emotionless robot? Because he's starting to get, he's like this, the way he describes it is like all this information, and then he finally he's like, I climbed a ledge and I peered over it and I started to see all the paths, and it all happened in like a second. All of this was in a second, and that's the first time he's ever had that really intense like daytime premonition, not during a dream. So it's like a whole new experience for him, and he's just sitting there trying to like comprehend it, and then also deal with the loss of his father and the loss of his home and the betrayal and all the shit that's just gone down, and these realizations that are popping in. Yeah, big day. Fucking big day. And that just speaks to like Paul as a character, right? Like, you and I in that scenario would probably have some kind of mental breakdown, but because this dude has experienced so much training and preparation for this moment, he survives it. So,
well, and that's, I think it's, like, you're like, this is what you were made for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, your body, you know what to do. Your body knows what to do here.
Hey, what did you think about, so he says his sister's name, you'll bear my sister Saint Alia of the Knife. What do you think about that?
I would really like, so this will be a separate book. Yes. Like, you don't,
I feel like she's going to be prominent.
Be an infant, right? There's so much in this book that I'm like, I need prequels, I need sequels. Like, this is not a book that I think you ever could have considered, like, this will just be one book and then he's done.
That's right. Yeah. And you like, don't want it. He sets it up in such a way where you're like, I need all of what you just described. I need more. It gives you a taste. It's great. Sorry to interrupt you.
I was just like trying to think of like how many like universes existed at this point, like literary universes in, when did this come out? Like the 50s?
Mid-60s, I think. Yeah. I'm not sure.
So we have Middle Earth already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's got to be a thing. When did Lord of the Rings come out? Hang on.
Lord of the Rings was, I think, late 50s.
Oh, okay.
Could be wrong.
I'm heading to the Wikipedia. Yeah. 1937. And then 1949 was the first Lord of the Rings. Man, that was a long-ass time ago. I didn't realize it was that long ago. It's pretty cool.
And it's like bonkers to me how you're writing this sci-fi that's like, this is still really futuristic. How many, almost
Yeah.
100 years later,
Yep. And so relevant. Like,
right?
yeah. How's that? Yeah, they really tried to capture these eternal human struggles of war and bureaucratic bullshit and family infighting and relationships, and yeah, it's fascinating. It's a really cool dissection. So what are your
Mm.
predictions for what's going to happen next in the Dune story?
Dude, I was thinking about this yesterday. I don't remember what I've been thinking so hard about the stuff we've been reading. I do not remember what happens in the rest of this book.
Me
Like
neither.
I remember one character mostly because I know who's cast as that character.
Hell yeah.
So I remember him. But yeah, like I really don't remember what happens after this, but I'm really excited to see more of the Fremen. I think for me the exciting part of Dune has always been the Fremen.
Fuck yeah.
Because of those like the blue eyes, you know?
Yeah, like they're going to be sexy to watch. This
Right?
whole universe is so visually appealing to me because you've got
Right?
ecological uh, focus with sci-fi. So it's like a different kind of
I've
sci-fi to
been
Star
really
Wars.
from I know Robo got the graphic novel,
Oh
which I was
yeah,
sorely tempted by at the bookstore the other day, but I did not buy. Polly would be very disappointed. But yeah, like I'm really interested. I want him to post some like pictures from the graphic novel because I want to see how they interpreted the characters and like all the
yeah,
scenes. I
yeah.
assume there'll be
Because
lots of sex.
oh man, like it's funny you say that because I was looking up fan art before we started this series, seeing if like there was stuff I could use, but there's so like the interpretations are so vastly different from people online. And it's funny because we're all reading the same source material, but like
Yeah.
it's the same as Harry Potter, right? When that first came out, and people were like, I did not think that this person would look like this or that would look like that, or yeah, everyone's imaginations are so different. It'll be really fun to see how it ends up. And from the set photos that we've seen, it looks pretty dope. Pretty dope. I want to see like, is the Baron gonna have that thing that he floated around on in the old TV movies?
From I when I was at Target last time, 3 years ago, I sent you a picture of. They had some of the toys, and yeah, like I saw the
Ooh,
Baron, and it looks like he's just gonna be really fat with maybe
interesting.
some special pants
Special
holding it up.
bits. Amazing.
Yeah, I think maybe he just has.
I'm so into it. I'm curious, like, chat, if you're still around, like, we're wrapping up now. We'll probably finish in about like 3 or 5 minutes. But uh, what do you want to see from the movies? Like, and what did you think of this section of the book? And did we miss anything important? And do you have any questions and all that fun stuff? I don't know. Because it, like, when I'm going through it and I'm thinking about what to talk to Glynis about, my mind, like, it's exactly what you were just saying about when I'm trying to remember what happened, because I've read it before. I'm so deeply ingrained in analyzing what's currently happening that I just don't remember. I have no idea. Ace says, I want to see Helen Mirren in it. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Who would Helen
I
Mirren
think she
be?
would make a great Reverend Mother.
Oh, god damn. That'd be so. I'd like masturbate to that probably.
I want to see her ganja bar.
She's just in everything. She's so hot. Like,
She
how can
should
you
be in
physically be that
everything.
hot? Yeah. How can you physically
I
be
think.
that
Well,
hot though?
I
Is
think
my
it
question.
starts if you like begin your life as Helen Mirren and then like get paid to stay hot for your entire life.
Oh, who was it? Was it you that posted on Facebook? Old mate dying today or yesterday. What's the guy's name? He was hot his whole life.
Christopher Plummer?
Yeah, his
Yeah.
whole life. Like, how do you how do you do that? I want him
Dude,
to
that's the
tell me
same
from
as
the
like
grave.
Ted Danson. Like Ted
Yeah.
Danson has somehow gotten like more attractive as he ages.
Yep.
Which
I don't get it. I want that superpower, please. I think IFLC
I
should
have
do a
the
TikTok
like
musical of June.
I have whatever the one that what's his name? You know when like male celebrities just get wider as they get older? I think I got that.
Like Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, like I'm just
Yeah, I
okay. I
think I
will
have
say
that too.
Brendan Fraser could still totally get it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's not a slam on Brendan. I just think like I get exactly what you said. Or like Haley Joel Osment is maybe another one where
Oh, Val Kilmer is the one I was thinking
Val
of.
Kilmer, nice. Ace says she's 75 and hotter than literally every person alive. I agree. Ainsley says I'm really not ready for anyone to refer to the 40s/50s as almost 100 years ago. Sorry. And then I
It's
love this.
closer to 100 than it is to 50, I think.
So Ace says we should do a TikTok musical of Dune.
Okay.
Yep,
I want to be
I'm down.
Piter.
Yep, I'm down. Let's do it. I think I want to be the Baron.
Oh, really? See, I was gonna say Judah should be because he's got that like nice deep voice.
Ooh,
Lauren Rad voice would be
yeah,
very.
I can see Judah in that. Yeah, I was picturing Judah as like, well, Judah and Robo as maybe like Hawat and Idaho, like those
I
two.
can see it.
Yeah,
I can see
just
that
because
very
they're like
much.
military dudes and they know
We
that.
should probably have both of them get super drunk and have a drunken rant to like audition for the
Oh
part of.
shit! You heard it here first. It's gonna happen. Ainsley says, "Glynis, stop." Sorry, we're all old. But hopefully we'll get something like, well, hopefully Glynis and I will have our laboratory funded so that we can create something like Spice so we all get extended life and we'll get super buzzed and high at the same time. It'll be fun. Good times. Is there anything you want to finish this?
I've got several irons in the immortality fire. So.
Oh, good damn. Do you want to say anything to leave us off with, Glynis?
I didn't think of anything to say.
Me neither. Thanks for joining and happening. Nick says, I can see them in those roles. A says, if this doesn't happen, I'll cry. Well, now it has to happen. We're not gonna let you cry. Ainsley says, sign me up. Ainsley, what role do you want to play? Just let us know. We'll slot it in. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
What about Michael and Polly? Who would they play?
I think Polly, I wish she had a bigger role, but I think Polly would make a great Fade because I think she would be
Ooh,
very good at
yeah.
like, what are we even doing here? You guys are ridiculous.
Yeah, I could see her as Mapes as well. I could see her doing a shady Mapes.
We should probably have Michael obviously as Paul since he's got that like
The charm.
that aura of command. Yeah.
Yep. I like it. All right, Michael, you're in the lead. No pressure. Don't fuck it up. Ainsley says I want to play the sandworm. I love it. A says, can I be cute slut number 9? That's the role I was for. Absolutely. I'm pretty sure she's in the dinner party scene. She's the one that shows up to try and.
Always cute slut number 9 in my heart.
That's a good place to end this off, I think. Thanks everyone for joining in and nerding out with us. It was really fun. I love talking about this shit. We'll be back same time next week if Glynis is down for that. You down for that? Woohoo! It seems like I had a technician show up yesterday and work through resetting my modem and doing all the things, and I'm now getting actually the speeds that I'm paying for, like 80 meg a second, which is probably third world for you guys, but it's happening. All right. Thanks guys. We love you and we'll see you next week. Bye.